Hi, Greg Andrick here, bringing you another Business Freedom Conversation post. So you may be asking me, why are you showing me this? Is this India's moment? I don't think there's an American who's conscious that doesn't realize the impact China has had on us in the last 40 years. I personally believe it's put great pressure on the middle class and really subverted the less educated, less skilled people in our economy. So now we have India coming along, and they are an democratic, English speaking country that is not China, where we're having problems because of China's military. And there's 1.4 billion of them, and 50% are below the age of 30. So it's a young, educated, English-speaking workforce that has a per capita income of only $2,388 a year. I think that you're seeing the next surge that we experienced the last 40 years from China is going to come over the next couple of generations out of India. And India is actually driving things further. It's going to have a greater impact on us, and this is the main reason I'm showing this to you. India is part of BRIC, these other nations that are forming their own alliance, and they're trying to break the dollar as being the reserve currency in the world. Why is the dollar the reserve currency in the world? We took over from Britain in 1947 for obvious reasons, but the main reason we've sustained it this long is because we set up the Middle East as oil producing, and since we did that in the early 50s, late 40s, the dollar is what people buy oil with. Well, India is now buying oil directly from Saudi Arabia with rupees. And this has a significant impact on us. Our government won't be able to borrow $2 trillion a year and have massive deficits if nobody buys our bonds. If nobody needs dollars, they won't be buying our bonds. It's that simple. So be prepared and keep your eye on this, because it could have as great a dislocation to our culture, society, and economy that the Chinese did ever since Richard Nixon opened it up back in 1972. So take a look at this. It's only 1 minute and 58 seconds long. I think you're going to find it interesting and enjoy it. It's something you need to keep your eye on, particularly if they're able to have that effect on the dollar being the reserve currency. This is Greg Andrick. I'll catch you on the next one, the Business Freedom Conversation.
India, home to a now record 1.4 billion people, more than half under the age of 30. But that also includes the largest number of jobless youth anywhere in the world. The fastest growing large economy in the world, India has the third highest number of billionaires. But on per capita income, it ranks at the bottom. The widening gap between the richest 10% and the bottom 50% makes India one of the most unequal countries in the world. Democratic English-speaking India, with an army of software engineers, has sought to become a major economy since its economic liberalization in the 90s. But authoritarian China has made bolder moves to become 5 times bigger. So why might this be India's moment? One big reason: it isn't China. Policy making from Beijing nowadays remains hard to predict. Western countries are wary of China's growing economic and technological clout. International companies are seeking supply chain diversification, China plus one. To speed that along, India's government is spending record amounts on infrastructure and offering production incentives to key industries. Other reforms range from a unified national sales tax to a world-leading digital payments system. Bullish investors and stock market highs have burnished the India story in the year of its G20 presidency. That Prime Minister Narendra Modi hopes will set the stage for his re-election next year. It will also test whether most Indians are buying the India shining story or not.